Is away from the NFL action, and let's play a game of Would You Believe, because we can take anything and turn it into a name-based
like
pun.
that.
Peter, you'll get used to that.
Good.
Here we go, D. Wood. Let's start with this. If I said Cam Ward's going to be an instant star in Tennessee, would you believe it?
I would not. And listen, I base that on what we've seen transpire the last couple of years when we're talking about C.J. Stroud was a star his rookie year. Jayden Daniels upended him and was a star his rookie year. Are we talking about Cam Ward being on that type of trajectory, that type of level? I just have a hard time thinking he's going to reach that level, so I would not.
Yeah, it's setting a very, very high bar, but that's what these guys before him have done. All right, next one, more quarterbacks. Would you believe Jaxson Dart winds up getting drafted ahead of Shedeur Sanders?
I would believe this. I would, because
I put a pin in that one. I want to come back to it in a minute with Schrager, but here's the last one for you. Steelers will take Jalen Milroe with their first-round pick. Would you believe it?
I'm calling the audible on this one.
Yeah.
Originally, I said I would. I think more so I was talking myself into that because of, again, traits by Jalen Milroe. I'm going to say would not. I think as much as we talk about his athletic ability, the warts in as far as playing the quarterback position, we can't ignore that.
Yes.
We can't ignore the way that Jalen Milroe played this past season, especially the latter part of the season. I don't think those are things that teams can ignore, so I'm going to say would not.
For those of you at home, that's why it took so long for the graphic to go up. He literally changed his mind in the moment.
Yes.
Score that one, not the fault of our staff.
That's
working
right.
hard behind the scenes. Well, you're wondering to yourself, well, I don't know anyone saying Jalen Milroe is going to go 21 to the Steelers. Yes, you do. Dan Orlovsky said it yesterday here on Get Up.
I'm more intrigued with the Steelers and Jalen Milroe than I was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I would start with this. I don't think that there's a team in the NFL that is in a worse situation when it comes to the quarterback position than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is a guy that has rare physical talent when it comes to Jalen Milroe. So I understand he's flawed, but I don't think he's nearly as flawed as a passer as some people believe.
All right, Mike Tannenbaum, I'm looking at the face on Schrager, but I want to start with Mike T, because I know you made your living evaluating these sorts of things. What are your thoughts here? Jalen Milroe as high as 21.
Yeah, right player, wrong round. You know, we talk about floors and ceiling. He has a high floor. He has 77 touchdowns between passing and running. He has a ton of ability, and the ceiling's very high. But right now, from the pocket, his completion percentage is just average and needs to get better, Greeny. When you're the Steelers and you pay $30 million a year, excuse me, and a second-round pick for DK Metcalf, you want to win right now. Jalen Milroe is a win-tomorrow quarterback, and that's why, to me, it's very inconsistent to take him at 21 and give up a second-round pick for Metcalf.
Yeah, listen, and I mean, it chokes me up just thinking about it, too. Here's the thing, Schrager. I mentioned earlier in the hour, I mean, I've been working on these players since January. Jalen Milroe's name was being talked about like in the late second, third round. All of a sudden, he's invited to the draft. He's coming. There's a lot more buzz than I would have expected. Should we be expecting Jalen Milroe to go in the first round of this draft?
No, but it could happen. Here's what he brings. He brings something in a package this year where you put him in on the red zone and you give him 5 plays a game. You give him 10 plays a game, and then you let him learn from a veteran quarterback, and eventually he's your guy. If you're the Steelers and you're assuming that Rodgers is not your quarterback, Milroe at 21 wouldn't be the pick. You've got a veteran team with veteran wide receivers. The team that I would look for is a team that has a guy that maybe they're not 100% certain is the long-term future that you could put him in, like a Seattle. They signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year deal. Sam Darnold has had ups and downs. Seattle wouldn't take him at 18, but if we're sitting at 27, 28, 29, 30, you want to trade back in, that's the Milroe pick where, all right, Darnold's struggling, don't worry, we've got Milroe, or it's 3rd and 6 and we want to have a splash play. Let's put Milroe in there. He does the read option and we get it. This is not a full-time quarterback in year one. He's certainly not a quarterback of a team that went to the playoffs last year and still sees a window with veteran guys.
Listen, to spend 5 consecutive minutes with Jalen Milroe was to love him. He was here in studio. So what I'm about to say, I say as someone who will root for him forever. Jalen Milroe, after the Georgia game last year, which was in September, threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns, and 2 of those touchdowns were against Mercer. So, I mean, this was a struggle of a season in his final year in college. I agree. He has enormous talent. It is a project and perhaps a long-term one. I saw out of the corner of my eye, you sort of reacted when D. Wood said, I could see Jaxson Dart going ahead of Shedeur Sanders. What were you looking at?
Look, there's some buzz locally here in New York about Jaxson Dart being the preferred quarterback to Shedeur Sanders in the Giants organization. I would say this, if the Giants were to trade back into the first or to trade back and take Dart over Sanders, understand they have done their work on Dart too. There was a lot of news that Shedeur Sanders was getting another visit, and they've been to 13 people went to the pro day. Take a look at these facts right here. They've done as much work and have been in the building in Ole Miss as much as they have for Shedeur Sanders. Furthermore, Joe Shane has a kid, an analyst at Ole Miss, so you've got people there. And then Charlie Weiss Jr. is the one calling the plays. And if you look at Brian Daboll and his history, and of course, Mike, you know this, and D. Wood, you know this, Charlie Weiss and Daboll through the Belichick tree have a lot of connections as well. The Giants will know everything they need to know about Jaxson Dart. So if they take him over Shedeur Sanders, it's not just them throwing, pun intended, a dart at the wall. It's because they've done just as much work on that player as they have on Shedeur.
Okay. I'm calling the courtroom to order. Here's what I'm thinking, Tannenbaum. So I'm putting together what Schrager told us at the beginning, which is that the Giants are taking phone calls, whatever the word is, maybe listening to trade offers at 3. Why? Because they're interested in taking a quarterback but don't want to take him at 3. It's too high. So maybe you accumulate a little more stuff, you move back a little bit, and they move back and take the quarterback, and maybe the quarterback they like is Jaxson Dart all along. Are you buying it, Tannenbaum?
Yes, sir. I like it a lot. And more specifically, you could do it one of two ways, your way or take Carter/Hunter. When Peter talks about moving back up into the first round, let's keep in mind, really important, you get that 5th year. And that becomes more and more important when we see these veteran salaries for quarterbacks at $60 million plus per year. So either scenario works for the Giants. Ideally, they get 2 good players in the first round.
Okay, I like it a lot. Let me leave it there for the moment. We'll all find out together on Thursday night where this all winds up. Meanwhile, we got a lot of great hoops this morning. A Big Apple bummer last night. What the actual heck happened to the Knicks? How much trouble are they in? Spoiler alert, the answer might be a lot, and you'll find out.